On this episode,
my first audition was for Mel Brooks. And I was so nervous and starstruck by him that my energy, everyone thought I was on meth long before I did meth. I mean,
from the coveted corner booth in a little bar at the center of the Coachella Valley Universe, welcome to another big conversation with Patrick Evans and Randy Florence, presented by the McCallum Theater. Visit McCallumTheater.org or reach the box office at 760-340-2787. Gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Howard. We are back here at Skip Paige's Little Bar, the cultural center of the Coachella Valley Universe. I'm Patrick Evans, your host, and along with my co-host, Randy Florence. Welcome back, my friend. How are you?
I came back another week.
Your haircut looks fantastic.
It's pretty good, huh?
Yeah, you look almost respectable today, and I really want to thank you for that.
Well, I'm happy to do it because, for a video, an audio podcast, it's really important.
It is important for you to look at. We've got to look at you. And our guest today is sitting right across from you, and I wanted you to look nice for Jim J. Bullock.
And he's staring at me.
and you do look nice.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you. I'm thrilled to have him here.
No, this is really exciting. I grew up watching a lot of television because my parents were never around.
No.
And so
That's a sad story.
Too Close for Comfort was one of my favorite sitcoms.
Was good, wasn't it?
It was a really good show.
I was really happy to get to be on that show.
And that, Ted Knight was hilarious. What was it like working with Ted Knight? I mean, was it a laugh riot all the time?
It was kind of sometimes. Ted could be, it was his show. And he ruled the rest.
He ruled it with an iron fist.
Yes, he did.
Well, they eventually retooled it to become the Ted Knight Show, right? It got rebranded.
Yes, and then he died.
Yes.
So
which kind of took the wind out of the sails.
Don't change the name of the show.
Dead Night.
It was Too Close for Comfort, and then it became, we'd done 5 seasons, and then our 6th season, it was the Ted Knight Show. And then he died, and then, it was like, well, shit. I mean, what are we going to do now?
Where do we go?
We'll get Robert Mandan. He can take over. It was like all these people were thinking about who could take over. And, it's the Ted Knight Show. It's not the Robert Mandan Show. Anyway.
Robert Mandan as Ted Knight.
In answer to your question, he was like my father. He really liked me. He saw himself in me. And he really took me under his wing, and he knew the importance of what I brought to the show, because what I brought to the show was what I could bounce off him, and he could bounce off me. And before I came on the show, it was Nancy and the girls, and they were fabulous, but he couldn't be constantly mean to his wife and his girls.
Right.
So he needed
a foil.
He needed a whipping bitch, and I was his whipping bitch.
I didn't understand foil. Whipping bitch, I understood.
Whipping bitch you get.
There you go.
This is why we have guests to elucidate us in terms like that. Jeff, that is probably, I think, my first memory of you, and just there was great humor on that show, but also great physicality. You had these great physical parts.
I did. Yeah, and Arnie Sultan, who was the executive producer, he did Get Smart. So he loved all that physical stuff, and so he was very happy that I could do it. So, and I was happy to do it.
Yeah, we had a reference to the Cone of Silence earlier today.
We did.
Yeah, Get Smart gets talked about on this show.
Oh, yeah.
Well, actually, and it's a shame that there's a gentleman named Whitey Mitchell who lived here in the Coachella Valley, but he wrote. And he created the Cone of Silence.
He did.
He wrote for Get Smart, Whitey Mitchell, but he's famous for 2 things. Writing, he wrote for a lot of TV series, but he's also, the song Stand By Me?
Of course.
The stand-up bass part in the beginning is Whitey Mitchell.
No way.
Yeah, he was this great stand-up bass player, and he got bored doing that, so he moved to L.A. to write for TV. And then he got bored doing that, and he moved out here and became a golf pro. I hate people like that. He was super talented.
He just couldn't keep a job.
Good for
He
him.
couldn't keep a job.
For him.
But originally, and I just read this, you were planning to become an evangelical preacher.
Yep. Yeah.
Because you were born in Wyoming,
yeah,
but grew up in Texas.
Yeah. We were like traveling through, and mother said, "Pull over, I'm having a kid." And so we were there. My dad was in the oil field, and so there was oil up in Wyoming. So my family is from Texas, Louisiana, and then we go up to Wyoming because there's oil in there, but then we come back to Texas. And so I grew up in West Texas in a small little oil town of 2,000 people. And then we moved to Odessa, Texas, which is where I went to high school. It was Permian High School, which is where I went to high school. That's the school that Friday Night Lights was written about.
Oh.
So, but that was many years later. But it was all about football and oil. So,
and it still is.
Oh, it very much is. Yeah, and that's not changed.
And you were raised Baptist.
I was raised Baptist, and I was a good Baptist boy.
We have that in common. I was raised Baptist.
Oh, Southern Baptist?
Yes, I grew up in Virginia. My father was Catholic, but he left because he said, "I'm not kissing anybody's ring." So
wow. Well, and you know what? I don't want to knock my upbringing or my church upbringing. I loved it. I had a great experience. I was in the youth choir, and I found acceptance in the church. Where in high school I was sort of bullied, but in church, I didn't know I was gay. I didn't know what gay was, but I was very different and quite effeminate. As I'm filing my nails as we speak, I can't imagine why they call me queer. No, really. But I loved my church, and so I wanted to, and I'm a Christian, I still am a Christian, and I wanted to serve God and use my life to serve God. And so I'm a singer, and so my first thought was I will become an evangelistic singer, and I will kind of be in show business and be there for God. Well, then I got bit by the bug in Bye Bye Birdie, and that was it.
Oh, Bye Bye Birdie was your...
Yeah, in high school, I got bit by the little Bye Bye Birdie, the theater bug, and it was like, church who? But that set me on a journey, and my journey took me to Oklahoma Baptist University, and from there I decided that's what I want to do with my life. So I came out to LA.
That journey also ended up with you sitting in a room with Tammy Faye Baker.
Yes.
Doing a show.
Yes.
How did that come about?
Drugs.
Hers or yours?
Both. No, I tell you how that came about. She was doing... God.
I mean, I'm trying to picture her sitting there right next to you.
Oh, my God. I tell you, there's a lot of stuff there. But how it came up is Tammy was, the fall had happened, and then she went on, this is several years later, and she went on the Lisa Gibbons show. Lisa Gibbons had a show, like an hour-long show.
Yeah.
And so Tammy went on, and apparently, I didn't see it, but apparently she was so fantastic that the producers of that show contacted Dan Weaver, who worked for Fox Lab, and said, you need to develop a show for this woman. She needs to be back on air. People love her. And so Dan Weaver at Fox Lab started working on this and developing it, and met with her and said she does need to be back on TV, but she needs to be with someone, because you can't, she was to go off. She was used to, Christian TV where there are no commercial breaks. It's like, let's just talk about Jesus for the next 6 hours. So they said, okay, what about a co-host? And it's like, yeah, we got to put her with a co-host. And they're like, who the hell? And so the idea of an openly gay man came up, and I was on a very short list at the time. So I met with her. I mean, first off, Dan took me to coffee and said, would you consider this? And I'm like going, oh my God, yes. Who are you talking about? Who you talking about as the other anchor? And it's like, And he said, well, let me finish telling you about the concept of the show. And,
Finish your coffee.
And finally he said, okay, so we're talking about Tammy Faye Baker. And I went, she's fucking crazy. Sorry, I shouldn't say that on air.
You could say it.
But that was my honest reaction, is that, because all I knew of her was the cartoon character she was on PTL. Yeah. And we would watch it just for the laughs, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
no,
my
they
God.
were both crazy.
It was the best television. And they were both crazy.
But it was riveting. I mean, it was like it was a little bit like watching a train wreck. You just can't stop.
Yes. And, you know, every SNL, what's the one, the Canadian one, the SCTV.
SCTV.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, they did a great send-up.
Catherine
O'Hara.
Her Tammy. It's the best. It's the best.
So your experience doing that, was she playing a character on PTL? I mean, was it really, because she was different with you?
So no, she was, you know, after meeting her, I mean, I literally met her, and the first thing I thought when I saw her was like, oh my God, you're so pretty. I mean, her skin was porcelain. And she's a little bitty thing, and her eyes were gorgeous. You could see beyond the mascara, and the hair was tragic. But you know, that could be fixed. But we spent an afternoon together, and I sort of fell in love with her. And I really, as I worked with her and got to know her better, really realized that her faith is very genuine. Her belief is very genuine, and she wouldn't compromise on that. She had so what happened at PTL, I don't know what happened, and you know, I think she looked away a lot, looked the other way, but she was
because Jim was sleeping with hookers.
And
well, there was a new Gulf Stream every week.
As I recall, that was the story, wasn't it?
And you know what? This is another disappointment in my life. Oh my God, I didn't get in the boat with LBJ, and here's
we need to tell that story.
Here's another disappointment. So you know, back in the early '80s, because I was openly. I was going to say openly Christian, but I was
careful. In Hollywood. That's you know, you have to come out as a Christian too.
But I was, you know, it was very known that I was a Christian, and so I got invited to go to the PTL Club. I also got invited at the same time to do the 700 Club with Pat Robertson.
Wow!
So I chose Pat Robertson over Jim and Tammy. And I think, oh my God, I mean, I would love to see that interview with Pat Robertson and me because it was so awkward. But had I gone in with Jim and Tammy, I know Tammy would have loved me. Jim probably would have liked me too. And, you know, I might have liked him, you know, who knows. But I didn't do that. No, I did the 700 Club.
What was your... Let's back up a bit. When you after the bug bit and you ran off to Hollywood, what was the first gig you got when you got to town?
My first, so I did stand-up comedy, and that got me the exposure I needed. And my first job was a feature film called Full Moon High, and it was a remake of I Was a Teenage Werewolf.
Oh.
It was a comedy, and Larry Cohen had an enormous cast. I mean, Ed McMahon. I mean, you know, there were so many people that were top tier, you know, celebrities and actors at the time that were in it, and I had the lead, and it was like, oh my God, I've got the lead for this. Whoa. So Larry Cohen invites me over one day after about a month of having the script and having the job and signing the contracts and everything, and says, see how kid, okay, this is the knocks about this business. We're taking off the lead. I got a bigger name. Basically what he got was Alan Arkin agreed to do a cameo if he would give the role to Adam Arkin, his son.
Oh.
So, of course you're going to do that. I mean, and I was put on a little bitty role. But Larry Cohen said, I'm going to let you go crazy and just do whatever. But as it turned out, I was back down to that.
Yeah. Well, at least you got to be in the movie, which is better than Eric Stoltz on Back to the Future. He got bumped entirely.
Oh, that is right.
Yeah.
Why? I forget.
Oh, he was terrible, apparently. He was too serious. And
who was he?
He was Marty.
He was Michael J. Fox?
He was Michael J. Fox, and then Zemeckis decided that he was playing the role not for laughs. And so he canned him and hired Michael J. Fox.
Well.
Oh, and he was doing it all method, and everybody had to talk to him, Marty McFly.
Yeah, everybody had to call him Marty.
24 hours a day.
Good choice.
Yeah.
Really good choice.
But at least you still got to appear in the movie.
I did. I'm in the movie. Yeah.
So we got to go back to that story, right, that we heard before we started, the LBJ story?
Yeah, because you said you didn't get in the boat with the president. Yeah. With LBJ, so you grew up in Texas, and you grew up on this lake, and one of your neighbors happened to be President Lyndon B. Johnson.
Yeah, across the river from me was LBJ's lake house, and so my brother and I, it was in the winter, and so we went water skiing, and so there was not another boat on the lake, and so I'm skiing, and we're going around the bend on the river, and I throw the rope up because I'm tired, and my brother just keeps going, oblivious that I let go of the rope, and so I'm just waiting there for him to come back and pick me up, and all of a sudden these little boats come around me, and they're Secret Service boats, and then this bigger boat comes up, and it has LBJ and Lady Bird and his two daughters in it. He says, "Son, you need a ride?" I said, no, Mr. President, just shivering. I knew who it was. And I thought, wow, why didn't I get a ride? That's so stupid. But
that would have been cool.
Yeah,
LBJ. And so now you say yes to more things, so you don't have those experiences.
Ain't that the truth?
And you're sitting here at this podcast.
I know. I said yes, and here I am at the little bar.
So sorry.
I love the little bar.
This is a great little bar.
This is a great bar.
This is a great place. We always have fun here. And
so I move us towards acting. You started as a stand-up, but how did you know that this is what you wanted to do? You wanted to talk in front of people.
I just knew I wanted to. You know what? Bottom line is, I wanted to be famous. I did. I still don't consider myself a great actor. I don't think I'm the funniest person in the room.
You're probably the funniest person in this room.
No,
certainly.
No, but I mean, I just wanted to be famous. I wanted attention.
Do you know why?
Because I always loved attention. And I found when I was growing up that being funny got me the attention that I wanted. And so I just thought, I thought, I can do this. I know I can do this. It was insane. I mean, no one in my family went that road. No one. I mean, it was like, what? And on top of everything else, I was gay, but I wasn't living a gay life at that time. But I had that struggle going.
When did you come out?
I came out to my family.
Yeah.
At 36. You're going to sit there and go, how in the hell did that happen? Growing up playing with dolls and everything, it's like, I'm sure it was it's like, Mom, Dad, put down your coffee. I got to tell you something, But it was a big deal because it was hard. It was hard doing that. But in my personal life, I came out much earlier than that. So more in the 80s I came out. But then I was a celebrity. So then I'm petrified. That it will ruin my career. So it was just a weird time. And then there was AIDS, and it was just like, yeah.
And it didn't.
It didn't. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. I often wonder, and Rick Rosner, who created Chips.
Oh, yeah.
And so Rick Rosner sort of made his fantasy into this mega hit, He did Hollywood Squares. So I was on the 80s version of Hollywood Squares.
John Davidson was the host.
With John Davidson. And, they would just let me do anything. They just let me go wild. They didn't censor me. It was really a huge freedom. And Rick Rosner came up to me one time and he said, yeah, I just want to you're crossing the line. I said, what line? Don't you know who I am? No. He said, you're crossing that line, Jim. He said, there's a real fine line that you can cross, and you're getting close to it all the time. We're talking about the gay thing.
The Paul Lynde line.
And he didn't say gay, but I know what he was talking about, the Paul Lynde line. And he said, I'm just afraid that you cross it too much. It might hurt you. It might hurt your career later on. And so I have often wondered if I weren't gay, would I have had a bigger career? Because after Hollywood Squares, I sort of took a dive until for 3 or 4 years. I kind of really had a hard time finding work. In the meantime, Will and Grace and all this shit's happening. It's like, hey, I've been a homo for years. What the hell?
Is
a real one.
Yeah. Why don't you cast a real gay guy?
Oh, my God.
Was anybody talking to you about, other than that gentleman, during those 3 or 4 years, this is what the problem is?
No, and I don't know that was a problem. I really don't know.
Right.
Things happen, and so who's to say? Who's to say? I've just wondered that. But has it hurt my career? I don't know if it has or not. But I had to live my truth.
Right.
So
it certainly was more difficult then than now.
True. Yes, true. And like I mentioned, AIDS and HIV, that talk in the 80s, it was like you didn't even, people were, gay people were shunned because you didn't know how you could catch it. We were all so terrified, so that, and on Too Close for Comfort, Ted had to know. I know Ted had to know. I know Nancy and the girls did, but I never had that conversation with Ted. And I wonder if I had, how he would have accepted it. But I think he knew anyway. But he was a germaphobe, and I think he would have sort of arm's distanced me.
Oh, was he a germaphobe, really?
Oh, yeah. He was a health nut. I mean, he wouldn't drink from styrofoam cups because of the carcinogenics that go into the making of the styrofoam. If you smoked, oh my God. I smoked.
You were a big smoker, you said.
And Audrey Meadows smoked. Audrey Meadows. She was his mother-in-law on this show. She smoked.
That's right.
Audrey Meadows. My God. And
TV royalty.
Truly. We were cast out to the loading dock to smoke, and it was okay, But here I am out here with Audrey Meadows and smoking. But one night during taping, some grip in the catwalk 100 feet above our head, Ted stopped the show, dead in its tracks, and said, someone in this studio is smoking, and I want you to put it out right now. It was like that guy up there. It's like, wow, he was crazy about it.
Wow. Interesting days on the set, I imagine.
Good times. Good,
So you guys had 6 seasons total, and it was a fun show to watch. I mean, it was
different. TV's different now, and I'm not saying we can ever go back to that, because I think there was an innocence that's lost that you can't go back. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. But it was a special time.
You might not be able to bring Alf back.
But they're trying.
You had some experience with Alf.
They're trying to bring him back.
Are they?
Yeah.
So how was that?
Weird.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What was it like on set? I mean, were you literally looking at Alf while you were talking to him?
It was a hard show to do because they had to dig trenches. The stage was elevated, so they would call it dig a trench. If Alf's gonna cross from here to the table, they got to dig a trench to that table. So you have to wait while they're digging that fucking trench. And it was not. I had just come off Hollywood Squares, where it was such a party. I mean, it was such a party.
Who were some of the other people on Hollywood Squares with you?
Well, Joan Rivers was Center Square.
Oh, that's right.
And Shadow Stevens, and then it was ongoing, a revolving door of amazing, big giant stars. Current and old-timey stars and upcoming stars. Brad Pitt was on the show and stuff like that. Of course, I didn't know Brad Pitt at the time. He had not really taken off yet. But it was an incredibly great time. It was a party. And then I go to Alf where everyone, no one talks. They're miserable. You're in a warehouse in Culver City. We weren't even on a studio lot. So at least on a studio lot, you can go outside and there's buzzing activity and things and other people you might know. We were in the middle of nowhere in Culver City.
Talking to a puppet.
Talking to a puppet.
Who's moving along in a little hole.
In a trench.
In a trench in the floor.
It was not the best time. So I only lasted, well, I ended that show.
Way to go.
I killed it.
You killed Alf.
We all thank you.
No, but I think they are thinking about bringing it back.
Well, everything old is new again in Hollywood. So
that's true.
So would you ever do stand-up again?
No.
How come?
No. I did stand up to get from point A to point B, and had I been smarter, because I had taken off, and so when they were introducing me, I was like known, so it was like kind of thrilling in the club to go up there, and people would go, "Oh my God, yes!" But I was not interested in it. And Ted once said to me one day on set, because this was back when I was doing the weekend sets, and like I was kind of tired on a Monday, and he said, "You don't need that shit now, kid. You're on a hit TV show." And so that's all I needed.
The Ted Night Show.
I just said the Ted Night Show. The Dead Night Show.
The Dead Night Show.
So anyway, I'm not blaming him. I'm just saying that I just he gave me the permission to stop. And had I kept it up...
And he's no longer with us, so he can't retract it, so he's not going back to stand-up.
That's right, yeah. No, I tried it once, and that was not good. It's hard. It's the hardest.
Stand-up is really hard.
It's the hardest. I mean, singers, you get up and sing, you have a song, you have an accompanist, you have something backing you up. But actors, you got a script. Oh, shut up. I'm not talking to my phone. Actors, you got a script. You're in a production. Stand up, you've got no one. It's just you up there, and you can be great one show and kill, and then have another show that same night and do exactly the same thing, and it's just the combination of the audience.
Right. It's the chemistry with the audience, and some audiences are just not fun.
No.
And it's getting harder to perform in front of a live audience today. Half the comedians I see have to start. I saw Kevin Hart come out with a baseball bat. Said if anybody comes up on stage, this is what you're getting. So he set the stage for.
Well, what's he going to do? Hit him in the knee? I mean, he's not tall.
No, but it would hurt. It would still hurt.
That would hurt.
Did you see there was? It's one of the best lines I've ever seen. Nikki Glaser was doing the roast of Tom Brady. And she turns to Kevin Hart and she said, "And I don't mean to belittle you, but you belittle." And it was just a great line.
That's great. It's so great.
You belittle. See, I used to host comedy shows, just like the guy who introduced the comedians. Right. And I do it because, you do it at a restaurant or the club, and they'd feed you and give you drinks, and they might pay you a couple of bucks to do it. But it wasn't really hard work. But you had to tell one or two jokes to...
Sure, you have to keep the momentum going.
And it's pretty ruthless. I mean, the audiences are tough. And this was a long time ago.
Yeah. And I hated hecklers. And I always seemed to have hecklers, because my act was not... I did not do jokes. I was very improv-y in my act. I was insane, and you didn't know what was going to happen. And so that was part of the... I don't think I was even that funny, but because I was so desperate up there, I would do anything. I mean, anything. And so, I think that leads the audience to think, oh, well, he's so loosey-goosey,
Might as well talk back to him.
Might as well talk back to him. And you're great if you get someone you can have fun with and banter with, but not so great if you don't, Anyway.
It seems like the other thing that you've had in your career is the opportunity to work with just some unbelievable people. And one of the ones I'm thinking about right now is Mel Brooks.
Oh, God.
Spaceballs is one of my favorite movies.
Who knew? Who knew?
So talk about that When you first read the script, what did you think?
I didn't read the script.
You didn't? Was this another one of those things?
No, it wasn't another one of those things. But you don't get the script when you're an actor. You don't get the script. You get the sides, and you go in, and then if you get it, you get the script. But I had no idea. I mean, an actor on my level, if you're a big time actor, they'll probably give you the script and everything. But I didn't know what it was, and I did go into my first audition was for Mel Brooks. And I was so nervous and starstruck by him that my energy, everyone thought I was on meth long before I did meth. I
can get rid of those two questions.
No, but it's true. I mean, that's one of the things that's worked in my favor all my life is my energy. And I went into his office and I was bouncing off the walls. I could not settle down. And he was like, "Kid, just read the just read what's on the page." And I couldn't. And he finally goes, "You know what? I don't know what the fuck you do, but I'm giving you this role."
Wow.
And he said, "So don't make me proud, So cut to the first day of shooting. I only worked on the film like 10 days, 7 or 10 days. It was John Candy and oh my
Rick
God,
Moranis.
John Candy as Barf.
Yes,
one of the greatest.
And
when he gets up out of the chair and the seatbelt stuff, he goes, "Ooh, that's going to leave a mark."
No, I love John Candy. Well, my first, what they did first was the wedding. So, and I've come in, when you come into a film and it's been going on and they've already created relationships and they're our family already, and you're coming in sort of an outsider, for a week of work. It can be very odd and uncomfortable. And to make it even worse, I had the flu, and I just thought, I can't call in sick.
Yeah.
Right.
And
so they'll find somebody else to play the part.
So I go and I'm doing, that. If you ever watch it again and you see where we're at the altar, I literally, they would say, "Okay, cut," and I would run to my trailer, and I had explosive things happening, and
that was very delicate. Thank you.
And I had all those buttons, 1,000 buttons, and leggings. I had leggings on, and I had those pantaloons on. Oh my God! And I didn't have time to even say hi to anyone because I was if I wasn't on set, I was in my trailer in the bathroom.
So it was a great experience.
It was. I wish it had been a better experience. I wish I would have said, "You know what? I'm sick. I got the flu. You're going to have to shoot around me." And they would have. But I was excited to be in Blake Edwards. That's a whole nother thing. That one I didn't look at the script. But,
we got to go there.
Yeah, that's where we're going next.
I was so excited to be in a Mel Brooks film.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, it is what it is.
Were you at a point in your career, did you still get nervous? Or did you ever get nervous walking on a set?
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah?
Yeah,
How'd
I still
you deal
do.
with
I would be, I don't know what, I would be terrified to work again.
Because you seem okay here.
I was all, I'm okay.
We're not making you nervous.
No,
You're very intimidating, Randy. Very intimidating.
No, I love this, but going on a set is a weird thing. As the week went on, I got better, and I did enjoy making the movie. So it turned out well for me. And who knew that movie was going to become classic? It's a cult classic.
It's a crazy cast, though, because you had Bill Pullman, and you had Joan Rivers.
Yes.
And Mel Brooks, and Rick Moranis.
It was an amazing cast. It was an all-star cast for sure.
So the first
Stephanie
time
Zugas.
Yes, Stephanie Zugas, yes.
Yeah. The first time you saw it, did you know? Oh, this is.
No.
People are going to love this.
it kind of didn't do well.
Yeah.
It didn't do well really at all because it was like, really, you're going to do this spoof on Star Wars 10 years later? Because it came out in 1986. Star Wars was 1976. It was sort of like, aren't you a little slow on the uptake here, spoofing? But as it went on, and the critics didn't really love it, So it didn't really shoot out of the cannon like, oh my God,
no,
I'm in Blazing Saddles.
Blazing Saddles. But a lot of Mel Brooks films don't get great critical reviews.
Right.
I don't think Men in Tights was critically reviewed great, but it's a hilarious movie.
Hilarious movie. And Young Frankenstein. Now, I think that was a hit when it hit the theaters. I think, my drinks are here. I think that was a big hit, but his shows were they took time, I think.
But that now Spaceballs is, it's kind of a cult. Everybody loves it.
Everybody loves it, and it's generational. And it's like I Love Lucy. Kids grow up now, and it's like their parents say, "Here, kid, put in Spaceballs and watch this." And it's so stupid, and they love it. It's that stupid.
The Winnebago in space. It's hilarious.
Yeah,
it's just funny.
It is. It is very, very funny.
It's so Mel Brooks. It's such a corny, goofball sense of humor. Like when they transport him and his head's on backwards, and he goes, "Is my ass this big?" I was like,
you have watched it more than I remember.
I watched, yeah. So tell us the Blake Edwards story.
Oh, so that.
Clearly a great moment.
What happened?
Everything's okay now? Sorry. I'm getting audio advice from our...
Were you getting up there?
Oh, no, we can hear you now.
It's just been quiet up until this moment. I just nothing, really. I was in... I got cast in Blake Edwards, one of his last films called Switch.
Yeah.
With Ellen Barkin. Jo Beth Williams.
Was Ellen crazy at that point?
I don't think so.
Okay.
This was like her. She was early in her career, and I went in again, met with Blake again, insane, couldn't come down, but so I didn't get offered the role when I left that day. So thank you very much, and so I'd take the script if I had the sides, or what you call the sides, and I would save them if I felt like I did well, because I'm going to need these when I get called back. But if I knew I just blew it and there was no hope in hell, I'd throw them away. And I walked out of that audition and threw those sides away. And 3 months later, my agent calls me, and she says, that audition you went on last week, you got it. And I went, what audition? And she's having her nails and driving in Beverly Hills going, the Blake Edwards. And it was like, that was 3 months ago. She goes, well, you got it. So, okay, great. I never get the script. I never get the sides. Something happened. And I don't really know what happened, but I was out of the loop. And I was trying to do stand-up again. And I was at the Ice House in Pasadena. And I came home, and it was late, like 11:30 or something. And my message, because you had answering machines back then, was full. And it was all these messages from the AD going, Jim, call me. Your call time is tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., downtown Los Angeles. Here's the address. Call me the moment you get this.
This is the first you'd heard of it.
I'd never heard of it. I didn't know my life. I didn't know anything. I didn't even know what character I was doing. I was a gay psychic. But I thought, how do you do a gay psychic? Oh my God. So I didn't sleep, of course. So I get to the set the next morning, go to my trailer, get in the wardrobe, go to the set. It's me and Jo Beth Williams, and that's who my scene is with. And I was so awful, and again, so my sphincter was like that. We
which
did
is different than what you were like on.
and so anyway, we do this take, and I was hoping Blake would say, "You need to do this or that." He didn't do anything, but Jo Beth Williams said, "You know what? You need to bring it down a little." She said, "I think you'll be happier with it if you bring it down." Which
she could be a director. That's a good note.
Which was great advice. What a lovely thing for her to say.
Yeah.
And we did it, and they said, "Okay, that's great, in the can." And I was like, thank God I made it through that one. Get back to my trailer. Get into my street clothes. I'm ready to go. On my door, it's the AD. He opens the door and he goes, why are you in your clothes? And I said, because I'm waiting to be dismissed. And he goes, you have another scene. Oh. And I opened the closet. I didn't even see the scene. Oh, my God. Anyway, I get in those clothes, and I'm walking to the set, and I'm looking over his shoulder at the script, and I'm
trying to memorize lines.
Just like, what? And we get there, and they go, okay, quiet, the bell rings. Okay, action. And I had the first line, and I just froze up, and I said, cut. And I said, I'm so sorry. Can I see a script, please? Which is so embarrassing. It's like, I'm a day player on this thing. It's like the least you can do is show up and know your lines. And I was just so embarrassed that I didn't. But I got through it. That scene never made it into the movie, which I'm very grateful.
But the other scene did.
Yeah. But the movie tanked, it really tanked. And it's not a bad movie, actually, looking back on it. It's got a great premise.
What have you done that you were particularly proud of that didn't necessarily, maybe like Spaceballs, it came out and it didn't necessarily grab everybody's attention, but you were particularly proud of it? Anything like that?
Yeah, but I'm trying to think what it was. Yeah. Well, I was very disappointed that the Jim and Tammy Faye show died. It was just an unfortunate timing. But we all believed in that show. We worked for a dime on that show, all of us, from the producers on down. I found out one day that the warm-up, who was my friend, Steve Moore, was making more than I was.
Oh, my God.
No, he was.
That's crazy.
That's why you seem happy every
They
day.
had me and Tammy for nothing because we were so willing to do this. And Fox was like, we're not putting any money in this. So, we all agreed to work for very little because we believed in it. And I really do think it could have been a phenomenal show. But it was right at the cusp, right before Rosie, and there wasn't a lot of that. And there was nothing like it in daytime. And so, and especially with an openly gay person, and then Tammy being very Tammy.
Yeah.
And then she had her cancer diagnosis, and then, she left the show after 50 episodes, and then they brought in Ann Abernathy, who was lovely and made my job easier because Ann was a professional and a seasoned pro, and she could do intros and outros, and she drove the ship. Well, I could just be silly. And we did 100 more episodes with her. So all in all, it was 150 episodes.
It's still a lot of episodes.
That is a lot.
It was a lot, but it didn't. Once Tammy left, it
lost a lot of cachet. I mean,
it did.
She's such a novelty.
It did.
And having her, with an openly gay co-host.
Yeah.
The concept is just kind of insane.
It was insane. And,
it would have killed Jim if he wasn't already.
He was in prison.
Oh, he was in prison.
Yeah.
He wasn't dead. He was in prison.
Dead yet.
Yeah. She had already remarried in Roe. But, Napty, where they don't even know if they have it anymore. Whereas the convention where all the television people go and they show what the news, what they have.
It's kind of the clearinghouse for new shows.
National television, I never knew what it stood. But anyway, they used to be real big back in the day. And that year that our show went to Napty, we went to Vegas. It was in Vegas, and we were entertainment partners who also was launching a brand new show, Judge Judy. And Judge, whatever her real name is, she was there, and our show was garnering all the attention, because it was so. It really kind
different.
of was a bomb, and it really was a lot of excitement around it and everything. Anyway,
well, such a great concept.
It
was. Did you have? You talked about your faith and your Christian. Did that ever cause issues in Hollywood?
No.
Was it a big part of the show with Tammy Faye?
Yes.
Your faith?
Yeah, I sort of took a sabbatical from my faith and everything for a time in my life. And I've come back to church, but at this time I was not in church. And but Tammy would pray over everything, and it was lovely. It was sweet. It was really genuinely.
And you believe it was genuine?
Oh yeah, and she adored me, and my partner, who has since passed away back right after the show ended from AIDS, she could not have been more compassionate, more loving to John, and everyone loved Tammy. Everyone loved Tammy. She was crazy, but everyone loved Tammy.
But that was your reputation too, is you were crazy.
I was crazy, and so when I was on the show with Tammy, someone had to drive. Someone had to be responsible to go, we're going to be right back. We're going to talk more about this, because Tammy wasn't going to be that person, and so I would have to be that person. So I had to reel myself in to do all that stuff, and be more grown up. Which was not so much fun for me. But once she left, like I said with Ann,
were you able to open up a little bit more?
Oh my God!
I couldn't reel him in.
I was in the audience. I was all over the place.
Gosh, I want to go back and see that stuff. All right, you moved to Palm Springs, 6 years ago?
Yeah, five. December of 18.
And so, what do you do for fun? I mean, I've seen you at the Purple Room, so I know you go to shows there. What do you do for fun out here?
Well, there's all kinds of things to do. I don't go out I'm not a real big person to go out at night. I love my home, and I love being alone. And so I'm kind of a loner. I'm very active in the day, but at night I'm going out to dinner tonight, but I'll go to theater or, whenever. And I do things. I don't want you to think that, I go home and crack the bottle, which I will. But it's from 5 to 6. I really respect that.
You're very disciplined. I admire that.
That's impressive. 1 hour.
I know. I drink enough in that 1 hour too. But no,
that's a pint.
I'm very, very active. I've got a pretty big volunteer life in my church, choir.
Are you singing the choir? You're back in the choir?
Yeah.
That's great.
Have you ever done any singing on stage?
Oh, yeah.
But put the choir on stage, Randy. You obviously don't go to church.
It's been a while.
You heathen. You heathen. No, I sing. I sang on the Merv Griffin show, and I never got to sing as much as I wanted to. I always wanted to sing more, but I got to do Hairspray.
Yeah, that's right. You played a great role in that too.
I did that in Broadway, and then I did the national tour, and then I did Kinky Boots, which was the most recent national tour I've done. But yeah, I sing whenever I get a chance to sing, but I'm not going to go around to, I should maybe go around to some of these clubs where they have piano bars and sing. That'd be a good thing to do.
You should pop into Melvin's, because my buddy Michael Healy plays piano there, and he would flip.
You could watch Patrick sing Summer Wind.
Do you sing?
I sing a couple of Sinatra songs. That's kind of my. But every Italian. After 2 drinks, we think we're Frank Sinatra. We can't. It's in the DNA.
So he slaps me and then starts singing a song.
Right. Somebody throw a chair through a fucking window, and then I get up and sing. That's it.
You get up what? You get up and sing.
Get up and sing.
No, I do love to sing, and so I sing when I can. I should sing more, but I actually have a fear of it. I'm very afraid to sing, but I love it once I get up there and do it. But I have a fear of it. Not in a choral situation at all, and not in a musical situation if you're with other people. But to get up, solo, sing, stuff like that, I have a little stage thing going on.
Well, we got to get you back up on stage singing solo in front of
I'm going to take you
us.
to Melvin's. That's because no, seriously, my friend Michael Healy, who plays piano there, he will flip. He's like, oh my God, he loves when celebrities come in and sing with him. So you got to do that.
You bring your music?
No.
He knows everything.
He knows. Yeah, he knows. He's pretty good. He's pretty sharp. You can stump. He's a little. Every once in a while, you can stump the band, but not often. Not often. He's pretty good.
Well, there's you do find that down here with these pianists, and they can like, what key? You know, they've been doing it for so long.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I'll give it to you in whatever key you need. Hum a little of it. There you go. Got it.
Got it.
Get up there. Shut up.
The population of entertainers in this valley
Well,
there
is
is.
unbelievable.
There is an enormous pool of talent.
Yeah.
And what's our little American Idol?
Abby Carter.
Abby Carter.
So as we record this, we'll be out in a few weeks, but as we record this, Abby has made the final 3 of American Idol.
Abby was just at the TV station yesterday. She's this will tell people when we tape this. She's doing a concert tonight in Indio. She's super talented, and she's just a delight too.
She is. I just watched her on American Idol, and I haven't really watched that show in years, but I went back to it because of her.
Same here.
She's fantastic.
Yeah, she's a phenomenal.
We're
talent.
finally on the map.
I
we
think
finally found an entertainer to put us on the map. Abby
She's
Carter.
a good one.
Yeah, no one knew where Indio was.
Nobody knew of the Coachella Valley prior to Abby Carter.
But there's a lot of talent here. It's a lot of good theater. You know, you got McCollum, you got CV Rep, you've got all these smaller theaters.
The Bent.
The Bent.
Yeah. And will you get involved with
yes.
local theater?
Oh yeah, I definitely want to do that. I've just sort of been taking, I'm just taking it easy right now.
Hey, Terry's got openings in the class. Not that you
I
need
could go
classes.
back. I could always go back to class,
There's people who show up there, that are very experienced, and they say, listen, I've got a show coming up, and I got to tighten things up. And it's really fascinating to watch somebody who's experienced in that class that's just trying to fine-tune something.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for him. So many good things are happening for him, So I'm very happy.
And you guys did a movie together about climate change, and you ended up on the island of Pittsburgh. Have I got that right?
I don't know about that.
The island of Pittsburgh, in The Cost of Living was the name of the movie.
Well, you would have had to have read the script if you were to know that. I didn't do that. No,
that's not his thing.
It was called The Cost of Living.
Yes,
and it was his film. He wrote it, and it's great. It is very fortuitous. And we made this like in 2002 or something. Where we are today, it's sort of like, oh, did you have a crystal ball? I mean, it's pretty.
Terry's a visionary.
He is. He did. Have you seen what's the other show he did?
Electricity.
Yes.
Yeah, I did. I saw Electricity, and he always had a Q&A afterwards, and I got to moderate that, and it was really fascinating, really interesting.
Where did you do this at?
That was at Oscars.
Okay, yeah.
Oscars in Palm Springs. It ran there for a couple of years. It was like a long time.
Yeah.
He had a good run with that.
Good things are happening for him with that, too.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, he is.
Very talented. You are very talented, and we are delighted that you would come and spend a little time with us. Thank you.
I am so glad to come. I don't think so. But
You're what?
I'm the gay one.
You are the gay one, yes.
He's the
Brandy's only just been recruited.
recruited.
Terry tells him that.
He does. Terry says, I give you 2 months.
Oh my God! Well, no, I have so enjoyed this, and I was looking forward to it because I think you're a great fun, and I know we had so much fun that night at the Dionne Warwick.
Oh my gosh, that's where I really got to. We exchanged numbers and let's meet up, and then I saw you get at the Purple Room for cast party.
Cast party with
Jim Caruso and Billy Stritch.
Oh my God!
So good.
That must have been phenomenal.
So good. I mean, the talent that was up there that night.
Well, that's where we met. That's where I met Kevin Spiritus, who came on the program.
Yeah, I know Kevin very well.
Kevin did the podcast with us just a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, now Kevin's not here though.
No, he
came down here.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, because the final season of After Forever just dropped.
Yes.
And he wanted to promote that, so he was on my show Eye on the Desert, and then he came and did the podcast. And
so he didn't come here specifically to be on the podcast.
No. But I give Randy. I almost called you Franklin. I'm not sure why. I give Randy.
Franklin
was a little black kid in Charlie Brown.
He was, as a matter of fact. I give you great credit because you made Kevin cry on the very first question.
First question.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Oh, he asked Kevin, about After Forever, did you know it was going to be this kind of success?
Oh.
And it's a very emotional project for Kevin.
Yes, I've seen it.
And so he got really choked up right in the beginning.
I almost quit. I mean, I'm like, I can't do any better than this.
Normally, you just make our listeners cry, but thank you. I'll be here all week. That was gratuitous, and I feel bad about it.
Not for long, you won't.
Jim J. Bullock, thank you so much. It is so fun to actually get it. I mean, it's one of those pinch me moments, and I have a lot of those in Palm Springs. But I grew up as a kid in Virginia watching TV, and now I'm here sitting with the
Isn't
guy
that crazy?
It is crazy. It's kind of nuts.
It's the celebrity boneyard of the country. Let's see who we do. Suzanne Summers, now over here.
So Terry and the class are going to be at my home tonight, and I'm already planning on when everybody walks in, Prince Valium is going to be on the screen of the TV as everybody walks
Your class
in.
is going to be in your home tonight?
Yeah, we're for a screening of some films.
Tell Terry hello for me.
I will.
Well, you have to tell them that right after this scene was filmed, he had to run to the trailer because give them the behind the scenes.
Oh, Lord.
Jim J. Bullock, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thanks,
we
Patrick.
so appreciate it. On behalf of our producer, John McMullen, and our in-house counsel, Mr. Alan Horowitz, who is back after hand surgery. Hope you're feeling better. And, of course, our great co-host, Randy Florence, otherwise known as Franklin.
Give yourself a hand.
Give yourself a hand. Thank you. We will be back again next week with another edition of Big Conversation Little Bar.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Big Conversations Little Bar. Recorded on location at Skip Paige's Little Bar in Palm Desert, California, the center of the Coachella Valley Universe. And presented by the McCallum Theater. Online at mccallumtheater.org. This program is a production of the Mutual Broadcasting System. All episodes are available from BigConversationsLittleBar.com and most major podcast portals, including Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Spotify.